Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we are going to take a look at a set of different action figures recently released by Boss Fight Studio. Both of these are lines that I've been pretty excited for because they are totally my aesthetic. Today we're going to be checking out Wave 1 of the new Epic Hacks Skeletons and Wave 1 of the new Saurozoic Warriors. Both of these lines, like I said, have looked so cool to me, specifically the aesthetic. I mean, the neon colors are insane on both of these figures. We got bright colored skeletons, and we've got these very bright, neon, vibrant dinosaurs. And dinosaur toys, come on, always cool. So our Epic Hacks Skeletons come single carded. They are on larger blister cards, and these are 1/12 figures, meaning they are in the 6-inch scale. And we've got 4 different figures in this first wave, giving us the Barbarian Skeleton, the Gladiator Skeleton, the Pirate Skeleton, and Grim Spectre. All right, we've got our Epic Hacks opened up. We're going to take a look at these Skella boys right now. So these are in the 1/12 scale, meaning that we've got ourselves some 6-inch scale skeleton action figures, which is totally right up my alley. That's my kind of scale. It's my kind of style. Skeletons are always awesome. And oh my goodness, these neon colors are amazing. I don't know what's going on over at Boss Fight lately, but they love these neon colors now, and I am here for it. I'm all about it. And how about a scale comparison with these guys being at 6 inches tall? Here's how they measure up to some other Dudes in my collection. Obviously, much shorter than Masterverse figures, which are almost pushing 8 inches sometimes. You can see they are smaller in stature to the Mythic Legion skeleton, which is at 7 inches tall. And then they do scale a little bit taller than your Masters of the Universe Origins figures. So before we move further, I think this is a good time to go ahead and talk about the articulation so you know what to expect with these guys here. So we're going to go ahead and bring one of our figures forward here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and remove his helmet. So basically, all of these figures are using this exact same skeleton body, which is very cool. A 6-inch scale skeleton body. As such, they are very thin. And the movement is going to feel a little bit different than if you had a chunkier action figure. But none of these feel brittle or breakable or anything like that, though there are some areas where you might feel it when you're kind of stressing some of the joints around. So let's start here. The head is ball jointed, so it can move left and right. You can roll it around. It's tight. Also, the jaws are articulated. And sometimes the jaws hang open just a little bit, but it's not too bad on these guys. And I do love that we've got the articulated jaw. I feel like that's very important for a skeleton figure there. We got those joints at the arms that allow the arms to go upwards, forwards, and backwards at the shoulder there. You do have swivels at the elbow, bends at the elbow, swivel at the wrist. The wrists also hinge. You can see those are ball jointed, and they are just on little pegs because these are removable, of course. Ooh, don't prove me wrong. It is removable. You can pull the hands off the pegs because there are some interchangeable parts with these guys, which is very cool. We do have a ball joint up inside the torso there. So it rolls around up there. You can turn it up there, but then it's also ball jointed down here at the pelvis. So that rolls around for you as well. So pretty cool stuff. This is one of those things, of course, with a skeleton guy, those articulation joints are a little bit different than if they were on a guy that would have skin and muscle, right? But still functions very similar to what you would expect from a 6-inch figure like this. We do have those ball socket joints there at the thighs. You can see, so the legs can go outwards, forwards, and backwards. You can swivel there as well. We do have double joints at the knees. Look at that, the little kneecap right there. Look at that, how cool is that? So double joints at the knees, and then the ankles, you can see the feet can go left and right. They can roll all the way around. Good range of motion there. So with the smaller, skinnier stature of skeletons, I do always worry about them being able to even hold themselves up. Because, you got those very skinny, bony legs, pun intended. But these guys do a really good job of balancing. It's very impressive to see how well they can balance. And you might need to do a little bit of work with them sometimes. Obviously, you're a little more top-heavy here just because of the structure of a skeleton. But they do a pretty great job overall, which is something really, really nice. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is removing the armor and accessories. I know a lot of people are probably curious if that is something that can be done, and to an extent, yes, it does seem so. You can pop these figures apart at the ball joints in the torso there. That will help you remove some of the armor pieces. You can also pull like the loincloth type pieces up over the pelvis. So that does sort of give you a naked skeleton. The one area that I had trouble were with the boot pieces. On this particular figure here, he's got these boot tops, and while I can remove the feet easily, and some of these guys have interchangeable feet, so you can have bare skeleton feet or booted feet, I couldn't slide the boot tops down. It looks like they're meant to slide up. And while trying to remove the skeleton's leg from the thigh area there, from the hips, that's where it felt like I could cause some breakage. So I refrained to go any further. However, Hax figures are meant to have a level of customization to them. So if you're somebody who is more attuned to customizing your figures, you probably could do a little more work, and you can just make these guys a fully naked skeleton if that's something that you want to do. All right, since I've been using the Barbarian Skeleton as our test dummy here, we will go ahead and start by taking a look at him. So yeah, Barbarian Skeleton. That's pretty obvious what we're going for here, right? He does have the little strapped armor there. He's got a furry loincloth. He's got boot pieces. And the tops here, you can see they're very loose on his skeleton bones. They do kind of just swivel around there. Pretty cool stuff. So I showed you earlier, he does have this awesome Viking helmet, which could be put right on top of his head, and it does fit nice and tight. Look at that. It actually plugs onto the head very nicely. And then we've got a wide array of different accessories for this guy. I mentioned that some of these figures have bare skeleton feet. So if you do want to remove the boots, you can attach the bare feet there as well, which is very nice. And then we've got some cool weapons for this figure. These weapons range from a really nice spiked mace accessory, a very cool double-bladed axe accessory, which I also love the points at the bottoms there, which is really cool. Also love that blue shading on the axe, almost giving it like this blue glowing effect, which is cool. And then we also have a long sword there as well. All the paint deco on these weapons is really nice. There's a good shine to it. We also have a holster on his back for the sword, so you can put the sword on his back, which is very cool. And the hands do a really good job of gripping onto these weapons. So even though we got these bony skeleton hands, you can see nice tight grip on the weapons, which is something that I very much appreciate. And he does still balance fine with the weapons in his hands. I was talking earlier about, kind of like the bony structure, finding the balance. That is something you got to do. You can kind of see that as I'm posing this guy around here, but it can be done. And if you want the extra help, all of these figures do come with the Epic Hax figure bases there, which have 4 different pegs on there for some different posing. They're this bright red color, but they do attach to the bottom of the feet, and that'll help you kind of find some different poses for these guys as well if you're worried about them falling over. Next up, we've got the Gladiator Skeleton, and this is a very, very cool one. So he's got a bit more going on as far as the armor goes. Also, just to kind of put him side by side with that Barbarian real quick, you can see the color difference in the bones. So this one does have much more of a grayish color scheme going on there, which is really cool. And then our Gladiator's got this beautiful bronze armor. He's got the shoulder pauldron up here that's adorned with this lion head. And then same down here on his shins, these big giant shin guards with those beautiful sculptures on there. I mean, look at those lions and all of the little adornments. These are awesome. This is beautiful, beautiful sculpt work on the armor pieces here. And then to top it off, we've got this amazing Gladiator helmet, which this isn't an interchangeable head. This actually fits over the skeleton head, and it's a bit tight, which is good, but you can squeeze it on over that skeleton head. Look at that. Look at that amazing helmet there. And then just to finish him off, we've got a shield accessory there. Again, great sculpt work on there. I love the kind of shiny silver that's worked in with that bronze color. I love how old it looks. On the backside, you can see like the wood in there. Man, just the weapons are detailed so beautifully. But you could slip this over the hand, or if you need to, you can remove the hand too. But there's some flexibility there that should allow that to clip on there, and then you can hold on to the handle. There's also a break in the middle of this strap, which also helps you put it over his forearm. So if you want to clip it into his hand first, that will actually help out quite a bit. And then we've got this little short sword accessory, which can be held in his other hand. And I just popped the hand right off the joint there. So let me just plug that back on. There we go. And now we've got this amazing looking Gladiator all armed up. So the Gladiator also has this really cool bent blade, which is really nice. Also, look how shiny those blades are. I love how silver that is. But I think the more unique weapon is this bladed handpiece, which is awesome. So if you want, you can just remove the skeleton hand like I showed you a little bit ago, and then this plugs onto that same spot where you would plug the hands in, and now he's got this amazing bladed hand, which is just so very unique and so cool. I love it. The pirate is amazing. Oh my gosh. So first of all, this is one of our brightly colored ones. He has got these neon green glow bones going on here, which is so very cool. And we've got lots of accessories for this guy. So first of all, you can see we do have a little dagger that I've already got sheathed on the back here. He's got this tattered outfit that he's wearing. We do have this great pirate head with the eye patch and the wrap around his head. But if you would rather have a regular skeleton head, we've got that as well. Worth noting that the jaw opens and closes on the plain head, but does not open and close on the pirate head. It stays closed there. But you can pop the head off the ball joint and you can swap on the new one just like that if you'd rather have a basic skeleton head. Also good, I suppose, if you want to build out an army of neon green pirate skeletons. Which is pretty cool. So in addition to that dagger on his back, we do also have two different kinds of swords for our pirate here. This blade over here is a bit more curved and it's a bit more rusted looking, which I think is awesome. There's also like chunks missing out of it, so it's clearly been used quite a bit. And that one holsters really nicely at his hip over here. And then the second one is way fancier. I love this one. I love the way it kind of curves around his hands there. Very fancy blade, which is awesome. So Pirate Skeleton is incredibly cool looking overall. Also worth noting, he does also come with some bare green skeleton feet. So if you want to try to make just a basic green skeleton, you've got that option as well. But this one is definitely one of my favorites in this particular lineup. And that's going to bring us to Grim Spectre. And I'll be honest with you guys, this is the figure that sold me on this set. He is amazing. So first of all, he is like a neon blue skeleton, but he's also sort of like our Grim Reaper type character. He's got this soft goods robe that he's wearing, and it fits really nicely and it feels really good, and it's topped off with some plastic robe pieces, which I think helps with the overall look. So he's got this plastic belt that's around his waist, which you can see lots of great details here, like some scrolls that are holstered there. He's got pouches all the way around. Really cool looking stuff. And then the hooded piece is the same, and the hood is actually removable. So if you want to pop the hood off the figure, it's a softer, pliable plastic. You still have this plastic piece up here on the shoulders, which is really nice. So yeah, the hood comes down, that jaw is articulated on this guy, but we've got some really fun accessories with this particular figure. So we've got a bunch of interchangeable hands with him, because we've got gripping hands, we've got opened hands, and we've got pointing hands, because of course, if you've got a Grim Reaper character, he has to be able to point, which I think is so awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and attach one of the gripping hands here. Of course, includes a sickle, because again, Grim Reaper character, you need to have a sickle. And in addition to that, we've got this book accessory, which also has this attachable translucent flame. There's like a peg in the middle of the book. We can plug the flame onto it for this really cool effect with the flame rising out of the book. That's what the open hands are for, but you do have to find the right way to position it. And look at this, I'm knocking hands off as I'm doing this. But you have to find the right way to position it to get it to stay. But once you do, it is a very cool effect. I love him holding open the book with the flame coming out of it, holding onto a sickle. This is an awesome figure. I absolutely love this one. Everything from the colors with the bright blue to the overall aesthetic with the robe and the sickle and the flame book. Easily my favorite in this batch. And then there are the Saurozoic Warriors, and these are figures I am so excited to be taking a look at here today. It is worth noting that these come in larger window boxes, fully showcasing our action figures within, but I also love the beautiful artwork that is featured on these boxes. Flipping around to the spines there, you can see gorgeous artwork of all of these characters. And we've got some really great looking dinos here, ranging from Triceratops, Ceratopsians, Brakhion, and Stegosaurus. Really excited to see where else this line can go, but for now, we need to get these 4 opened up and out of their boxes. All right, now that we got these guys all out of the package, why don't we start by looking at the scale of these figures? So I'll bring in the tape measure here and our main Triceratops over here. We'll start there because you can see that the figures are in the 6-inch scale. He stands basically right at that 6-inch mark. But then you've got shorter dudes like the Stego, who's, a little more stumpy and hunched over. His height is more around 5 inches, just under 5 inches, while you've got our Brakhion here, who goes up to about 6.5 inches tall. So we've definitely got some variance with the overall scale here, which is really cool, the different sized dinosaurs being different sizes. Now, just kind of matching these up with some of the other figures so you can see where these guys stand in comparison to those. Of course, you can see them with the 6-inch Triax Skeleton, and also, very interestingly, seeing how they are basically right in scale with Masters of the Universe Origins. Dear Boss Fight, thank you for making a green Triceratops that's the same size as my He-Man. Now, if you guys could also make a purple T-Rex guy, that would be really cool. Your friend, Pixelated Daniel. Wait, why am I handwriting a letter? I've got Twitter. At Boss Fight, please make purple T-Rex dude. Also, here's a list of licenses that you should be making action figures of. I think this is a good spot to also just talk about the articulation and what you can expect with these figures, because it is basically the same across the board, and we can address any differences as we're moving along with these characters here. But I will say that the figures feel really good. They are sturdy, they feel solid, they feel like really nice toys, which is something I very much appreciate here. The heads are ball jointed, so they can roll all the way around, look left and right. You've also got the joint at the base of the neck, so good range of movement there. All of the jaws are hinged, so you can open and close the mouths, and that goes for all of these dinos, which is very, very cool. You can see the shoulders can go outwards, forwards, backwards. You got a swivel at the elbow, a bend at the elbow. You got swivels at the wrist and hinges at the wrist there. So the upper body just turns at the ball joint at the waist there. You can see it rolls around at the waist. You can also move left and right. All of the belt pieces that are hanging off, like the holsters, are much more pliable, so that way they kind of flex around. They don't get in the way of the articulation. The legs are on ball joints there, ball socket joints at the thigh, so they can go outwards, they can move forwards and backwards, swivel at the knee, bend at the knee, which are very tight. They're kind of like those ratchety joints there. And then the ankles, you can see they can rock side to side, and then the feet basically just turn with the whole lower leg there. But you do also have a hinge joint, which is very tight on these feet, so they can also move forwards and backwards there. But all in all, I feel like the articulation is really well done. These guys are very sturdy. The articulation moves really well, but it's also very tight on these guys. In fact, I did need to give our Triax here a warm bath just because his elbow joints were a little stuck, but he's the only one I had that issue with. And once I worked it out, they've been working just fine. And you can see they stand really good. So all in all, I'm really impressed with the feel of these guys. They feel nice and sturdy. All right, well, let's go ahead and start with Triax Skiver then, our Triceratops dino. First of all, I gotta just say, holy Ninja Force Zartan, baby. I love the bright neon colors on all of these dinos. And while this one is very bright and vibrant, he's actually probably the least of the neon-y as we get going through these. But the colors are amazing. You can see his skin tone is this very vibrant green, but there is some nice shading going on there where you've got darker greens as well. Also, if you look real close, the texture of the skin is scaly. which is something that I also really like. You can really see it on the thighs there too if the light is reflecting the right way. But the colors really, really pop on these guys. I mean, they look like they jumped out of the 90s, which is something that I really, really love about these figures. We got a nice little scar across the left eye there. Obviously, he has seen some battle, but just a very cool anthropomorphized dinosaur, which also has a bit of a sci-fi look. You got this great purple vest with these bright neon kind of orange buttons and belt buckle there. And you'll also notice we've got this great amount of armory on this guy. Seriously, like look at the holsters all around this figure, where he's got a knife on one hip, he's got a blaster on the other, and one also on the back, and then we've also got another holster up here at the top. Now this is for his other weapon, which is this axe-like weapon, and this is flexible, so it kind of opens up and you can pop the axe on his back. I mean, look at this. Basically every accessory that he comes with, he can holster on his body somewhere, which is something I really appreciate. The only exception being he also comes with these two little canister bombs, and there's really nowhere specifically to holster those. They've got a little clip there, so you can maybe clip it on, I don't know, the leg strap there. But otherwise, I love that we've got storage space. That is something that I always appreciate, is where you've got somewhere to put all of the weapons that come with a figure. So yeah, these weapons are really great. It's a mixture of, science fiction like blasters as well as bladed weapons. So I love we've got the variety there. So Triax Skiver's got this large axe. Now the hands are made of a pliable material, so you can see they're very flexible on the fingers. So they do open up very easily to hold onto the weapons. One thing I will say though is the grip isn't quite as tight as I would like it to be. It's almost like they're just a tad too soft, so they don't get a really tight grasp on the weapons. Now, saying that, I gotta show you, it's not like the weapons are falling out of their hands. Nothing like that. I just wish they kind of clicked in place a little bit better. But otherwise, he does hold on to the weapons. The articulation allows to get, two-handed poses with things like the battle axe there, which is very, very nice. And then when it comes to things like the pistols here, he actually does have trigger fingers as well, which is awesome, something I definitely appreciate. When you've got a character that has blaster-like weapons or guns, I do like it when their hand is molded so that they're holding the guns proper. It just looks a lot better when they've got those weapons in their hands there. So this guy is really, really nice feeling, and this is just the start. Let's look at the others. So we're going to look at the Ceratopsoan Guard next, and it's because he's just so similar to our Triax figure. In fact, just to show them side by side real quick, it's very obvious that they are sharing body types there, though we do have some different armor there, and of course the head is different. He's a different type of Ceratopsian, no horns on this guy, but also this is sort of like our army builder. He's just listed as a guard, a Ceratopsoan Guard. So I guess if you want to army build these dudes, you totally could. Again, amazing colors on here. He's a bit of a lighter green than what we saw with Triax Skiver. I love this bronze color. It is so shiny on the armor. It is awesome. But on top of that, all of his weapons is this amazing, bright, hot pink. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. And that's just the start of it. This dude comes with some incredible accessories, which also includes this mask. Look at this mask. So it's like a gas mask type of thing. It has a very Toxic Crusaders vibe to it to me. Kind of reminds me of the Toxic Rangers there. But this is awesome. So this just works by form-fitting to his face. You can see it just kind of clips on his face. This strap will go over the top of his frill there. I would say it doesn't clip on super tight, but it does clip on good enough. You just got to kind of press it into place, which creates a totally new look for this guy, having that mask on his face. And then on top of that, he also has his own versions of those little canister bombs there, which are also done in hot pink. He has a knife at his side in that same pink color. He's got that blaster that I showed you holstered on his back, and he's also got a spear with a nice hot pink arrowhead tip at the front. This is a really cool figure there, and this is where those colors are really starting to get wild. I absolutely love those neon colors. And again, he's an army builder with the mask on, with the mask off, using different accessories. If you want to build this guy out into troops, that is totally doable, but a very fun figure. I love the mask on this one. All right, our next guy is where things really break that mold a little bit. This is our Stegosaurus character named Ossis, and this is a tough-looking dino dude right here. First thing I want to talk about, because it just happened, so it's a good time to talk about, he does have this one shoulder pauldron, this spiked pauldron that goes on his right shoulder, and it falls off pretty easy. Now, it clips into place. It's just like form-fitted for his arm up there, but basically anytime you pose him around, it is going to fall off, so that is something worth noting. But otherwise, I do really love this guy. I mean, look at those colors there. First of all, like I said, he's the tough guy, right? He's got this awesome leather jacket. He's got this ripped and torn shirt underneath it, leather pants, but then that's highlighted by these neon pink belts and the knee pad, and he's got this massive knife strapped to his arm there. Look at that with the hot pink handle on it. He's got bright blue plates going down his back with the spiked tail. He's also one of the only figures with a tail, and that is also articulated at a ball joint here, so that's pretty cool also. But he is much more short than the rest of the guys. He's stocky. He's got a very wide base, but all of his articulation still functions the same as the others there. And just all in all, a very cool looking figure. You can see the opening and closing mouth there, which is also really nice for this particular guy. And his weapon is awesome because aside from this knife, he's got this massive Gatling gun type weapon. And I talked about the guard reminding me of Toxic Crusaders. This feels like a Toxic Crusaders weapon. Seriously. I mean, like, look at the little canisters, the different colored canisters here, and just the bright pink of this blaster is so cool. These tubes and everything. The handles are articulated, which is really nice so that you can get those positioned in his hands just the right way, which works out really, really well. So you get this big, large Gatling gun in his hand, and one of the other things that I like is that the neck does turn all the way to the side over here. So that way you can get him properly posed to fire off this large Gatling gun. The articulation works so well on this guy, and he is just the coolest friggin' figure, man. I absolutely love his overall look. He looks like Ninja Force Zartan's best friend forever. Seriously, that's a duo that I'm all about right now. And then that's going to bring me to the final figure, which might be my favorite. I don't know, it's hard to choose, but I really like Range Brakhion here, which is our Brachiosaurus character. Of course, he's got this longer neck, which is really, really awesome. And it still articulates at the base there, so good articulation. But then, of course, the head itself is also ball jointed. It is worth noting the head pops off of this one fairly easy. Like, it's not falling out or anything, but it does allow us to see that ball joint on the inside there. So you can clip that back in place. The mouth does open and close on this guy as well, and you can kind of rotate the head around there, which is very, very cool. He's got a bit more of a barbarian look to him, which is something I really appreciate. He's got another spiked pauldron, which is attached to his armor here, that's strapped around his chest. He's a bit more bare-chested than the others too. Also has a holster here for his large hot pink handled knife. He's got a holster on his back, which is for his larger weapon. This weapon is insane. This huge bladed axe type weapon. I love that he's got like a dino skull at the top. Maybe shows how savage he is. Really cool looking. It's a bit top heavy, and that's one thing I want to say too, because he does have a holster on his back for his, but it does have a harder time kind of holding that. You can see it, like, it weighs him down. So when I've got that on his back, he has a harder time holding that in place. Also, it keeps folding open because this is kind of a softer material. So it doesn't holster on his back quite as good as with the others. But it is an awesome weapon. You can get two-handed poses with that as well. And then he also has a larger machine gun type weapon there. It's got a scope on the top, which is very cool as well. So lots of different ways you can pose this guy around. He's got a furry loincloth and furry boots. Interesting to note, there's like no pelvis piece underneath this loincloth. I'm not exactly sure why that is. Maybe they just decided that a hope that it wouldn't hinder articulation. That's my only guess there. I mean, you wouldn't notice that obviously unless you lifted up the furry loincloth like I'm doing right now, but it did kind of surprise me a little bit when I noticed that there. But all in all, very cool looking figure. Like I said, the colors on this one are amazing with the bright blues, kind of the purple shading on there, and then the hot pinks that are used on his armor and his weapons. All in all, really awesome figure. So there you go, my friends, a supersized video filled with a bunch of new figures from Boss Fight Studio. I really hope you enjoyed taking a look at the awesome epic hacked skeletons and the incredibly cool Saurozoic Warriors dinosaurs. I really do enjoy both of these lines. The epic hacked skeletons are very cool. I just love that we're getting so many skeletons from different places in the 6-inch scale now. I think that is really cool, and I love the overall aesthetic of these guys. There were some instances where I felt like posing them was a bit tricky due to the balance of the small structures of these figures, and the hands did have a tendency to pop off when I was putting weapons in their hands, but with a little bit of work they were easy to balance and easy to arm up, and like I said, the overall look of these guys, very cool, and I'm excited to see what else we're going to get from this line. I know there's a luchador coming out, and I'm really excited for that one specifically. And then with Saurozoic Warriors, I mean, dinosaur toys are cool. Love the bright neon colors. Very 90s aesthetic. Overall, incredibly cool line that I am really looking forward to seeing more from. I have to give a very special thanks to Boss Fight for sending these over so we can get a good look at them all outside of their packaging. Epic Hacks Series 1 is available now, while Saurozoic Warriors Wave 1 is shipping very, very soon. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and until next time.